Hey, all right, we're live. Hey, everyone. Gosh, I'm back. I don't even know what I'm doing here anymore. It's like I forgot how to everything. I have to be honest. I haven't been had a lot of access to sports other than just checking the scores out online. But hey, everyone, welcome to the Sports and Draft Show with Dave and Chuck. He's Dave. I'm Chuck. Welcome once again, Dave. You did a fantastic job the last couple of weeks. I mean, you don't even need me, man.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think all of the tech stuff you do makes our show a lot smoother than me holding up pictures I printed out on my HP inkjet printer and, displaying my play it through people of the week's photos and going old school, if you will. But no, I'm glad to have you back. We're better as a team.
Thanks a lot, man. No, it's you carry. I was talking to Leo. I was like, man, I don't know if I could carry an hour and a half, sports show by myself. I just don't have the commitment every week that you do to watch all the various sports. I don't know what I'd have to do if I actually had to watch an English Premier Soccer League game. So,
You just have the best time of your life. That's all.
Yeah, there it is. Well, anyone that finally, when you guys do join in, we do have the baseball game going on right now, which is Game 7 of the World Series, top of the second inning. We'll keep you guys updated with that, and some NBA action going on tonight, and because that season started. So, and that's been a positive for me so far. But hey, why don't we get into the reason, one of the main reasons we're here is our beer. Since I got off vacation, I got a beer, not anywhere that I went, but it was a beer that I had when we were on vacation in Hawaii earlier this year, and from Maui Brewing Company, and it's their Big Swell IPA. And I'll tell you, for an IPA, it's actually quite refreshing. It's not as hoppy, it's not as bitter as a lot of IPAs, and it's very, very easy. It's drinkable and has about 6.8%, so has a little bit of a kick to it. But we really enjoyed this. Hawaii's got obviously Maui here, and they also have Kona brewing, but I really enjoy this one. Kona is just kind of a Kona brand brewing. I may do one of theirs in the future. They just have all around good beers and a wide selection, and I believe Maui is really growing to be a good competitor. But so it's Big Swell by Maui Brewing Company, and you can find this. I found this at Bevmo today, going through the aisles, and there we go. That's my selection of the week. This is the colors. It's kind of a bit lighter, I think, than a lot of IPAs. More of a lager looking, I suppose. But it's definitely easy drinking. A little bit of, they say, citrus in there, or a citrus hop burst from the dry hopped Indian Pale Ale. So, cheers.
Cheers. Nice one. All right.
What you got?
The beer I have selected this week went a little sports theme, definitely athleticism in there and strength. But I got me from El Segundo Brewing Company, the Steve Austin's Broken Skull IPA. And yes, it is the Stone Cold Steve Austin. He lives in the LA area. He has a great podcast. Check it out. He's great on it. But he got together with the El Segundo Brewing Company and helped them create this beer. He has a little blurb on the back about working with them. This beer is just an IPA. It's a 6.7% alcohol by volume, so pretty decent average in their beer. It has the 3 C's for hops, so it's Citra, Cascade, Chinook hops. It's really good, big hoppy flavor, good finish. It's a really good beer. So, in the comments below, if you grew up with WWF like I did, if you're a WWE fan, if you like wrestling, who was your favorite wrestler? And if you'd want to try Stone Cold Steve Austin's beer, give me a hell yeah down there.
Hell yeah.
So this is the color. And it's a good beer. I would get it again. It's really good, actually.
Yeah, I was just reading the bottom of your can. I think they're both Indian Pale Ales. Yeah. Both of our choices this week are Indian Pale Ales. So, before we get on to what happened last week, just want to get it. our one viewer right now, bottom of the second, no score, and the Astros just got up to bat. So, so what happened this week in college football?
So there was a lot of upsets. 4 ranked teams got beat by unranked teams. Hell yeah, Amber! And so the biggest one was Oklahoma. Number 5 Oklahoma lost to Kansas State by a touchdown. That was a huge, huge surprise. Kansas State's not a bad team though; they just weren't ranked. But Oklahoma basically probably not going to be in the college playoff race right now. They were fighting with, Clemson, Ohio State for that last spot. Now, depending on what happens the rest of the season, they could be out. Most teams only have 4 games left. So that was a big loss. Some of the big wins were Ohio State, number 3 ranked Ohio State, smashed number 13 Wisconsin. Wisconsin's pretty much, looking at a medium bowl now because there's other Big Tens that are better that will either make the playoff, maybe beat them out for the Rose Bowl. Michigan, huge, huge win at home in a rainy game for Jim Harbaugh and his team. They upset, number 10 Notre Dame, physically beat them up, dominated them. So good for Michigan. They really, really needed that. Jim Harbaugh really needed that. And I don't like Notre Dame, so I was okay with that. And then there was a really great SEC game where number 2 LSU beat number 9 Auburn by a field goal. So, and being a Duck fan, the Ducks won at home on a last-second field goal against WSU, which scores a lot of points. So that was good. And now it just looks crushing because we lost at the very end of the game to Auburn. It's our only loss. Auburn only lost by a field goal to the number 2 ranked LSU team in the country. So we win that Auburn game. We're in the top 3, I think. We're undefeated and we're probably in the top 3. So that still stings a little bit. But we won, Oregon won, so that was great. So that's kind of the big games that I said to watch last week, and a few little additions. But UCLA also upset number 24 Arizona State. So Arizona State will now be knocked out of the rankings, and that was, I thought, a big upset too. So yeah, a lot of upsets near the end of the season here in college football, and it will get really, really interesting with 4 games left to see if any of these undefeateds get knocked out before the end of the season.
Before we move on, just a little bit of an update. I'm going to turn my iPad around for a game break. The Astros, Yuli Gurriel, solo shot, 389 feet out. And the next batter got up and singled into right field, right center. And so Astros have a run on the board and a runner on first base, bottom of the second inning. And
if you see me turn like this, it's because I have the game on in my garage on the TV too, with no volume to check the score. And it's game 7. I got to see some of this, even while I'm doing this, and update all you.
It's Amber. Just before we move on, go Ducks! Too damn close. You were 100% correct on that. To be able to come down to a kick at the end of the game for the Ducks to win is, a win is a win. And, but I'm still not sold on Arroyo and the offensive coordinator leading this team. They're not in the field, and it's just so conservative, and it's going to come back to bite them, as it always does as they get late in the season. I think USC, I think Washington State found some gaps in the secondary, and we'll see if USC this weekend can kind of exploit those even more. I hope not, because the Ducks, they're once again in a playoff conversation. And, as remote as it might be, they're still in that conversation. If they win out and win the Pac-12, we should probably see them there. And are they good enough to win? Probably not. But hey, it's getting there. It's representing. And Astro, another single for the Astros. They have runners at first and second right now. So, Amber, I love it. I'm pulling for the Astros. Go ahead.
Me too. I was going to tell you, the Ducks are at USC this weekend. on Saturday. That's
Right.
not too far from your house if you'd like to go down and tailgate, and represent those Ducks down in LA. You're pretty dang close. If you can get through the fires to get to
Yeah,
the
right.
game, it might be worth just heading down there to tailgate because USC is sneaky. So I'm a little worried about that game because USC is a sneaky team this year where they can play really well some games. So we need to show up. This isn't an easy win by any means on the road. Like we're gonna have to show up on Saturday.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Um, Amber's really got it. She's got some more comments on the Ducks game. And if it was the old defensive coordinator for the Cougs, it would have been a blowout. Yeah, I don't know. Oregon can score. They got some injuries. Let's see what's going to happen with Dye if he's going to be able to continue playing this year at all. And but well, anyway, it's still a win. A win is a win, and as ugly as it is, it's just they have a lot of these close wins, and a lot of times you're in a close game and they can go either way. The kick is missed, and now they got 2 losses. So, but good for Oregon, good for the Ducks. Any win for the Ducks is good. So, moving in the right direction. So, so Liverpool won again this week. Have they lost yet?
Absolutely. No, they have one tie. While you were gone, they tied. So they're 17. They stopped their streak of wins from last year to 17 games. They didn't get the record, which was 18. So they got right there, but they had a tie. So they haven't lost. They actually, this last weekend, they played Tottenham, and Tottenham scored in the first minute of the game.
Wow.
Like, blow the whistle, here we go, boom, went down, scored. 1-0 Tottenham. And it was like, oh, like, no. We came back out the second half. Mohamed Salah, he kicked a penalty kick to win it. So we tied it up earlier in the second half, and then he came in, and he had a penalty kick in the 85th minute, and he won it for Liverpool. So they're still 6 points ahead in the table on top of Manchester City, who won 3-0. And we need to stay ahead of them because tiebreakers are like points for.
Mm-hmm.
Points for Manchester City is like plus 32. They're
Oh my goodness,
literally crushing everybody when they win. And I think Liverpool's plus is only like 23 or something. I mean, they're a good 10 goals points for Manchester City. So we need to keep that points table lead up on them because if it gets down close to points, if we tie with points, they're going to smash everybody in the points for tiebreaker right now. But yeah, so there was some good soccer going on. Moving to U.S. soccer, it is MLS playoffs were going on right now as we speak. So last night, Seattle, they played LAFC and upset them in LA. The Sounders won 3-1. They had a gentleman, Raul Ruidiaz. He had 2 goals for the Sounders, and it was an upset. So the Seattle Sounders will now be playing in the MLS championship game against whoever wins between Atlanta and Toronto, which is going on right now. I don't have my phone on me. It started at 5, so the game's already about 40 minutes in. So it's probably about halftime. 45 minutes in is halftime, so it's close to halftime to this game. But we'll have to look, and I'll have to update you maybe next week on who is playing in the MLS finals against Seattle.
Atlanta and Toronto tied 1-1. Is that who you're saying?
They're tied 1-1, Atlanta and Toronto.
Yeah.
Cool.
32nd minute.
Yeah, so they're almost to halftime. They have 13 more minutes to halftime. 1-1. So whoever wins that will play Seattle in the MLS finals in the championship.
So we're going to the top of the third just to keep our fans updated. Top of the third, Astros actually left 2 men on second and third. So they had runners in scoring position, left them on base, and a line drive to left field. Left fielder had to stretch out to catch it off the ground. So that could have easily scored 1, possibly 2 runs. had he missed that ball. So still 1-0 Astros. So NBA kicked off.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of excited. We got two pro sports. You know what? I shouldn't say that because we have the World Series going now. So I guess we technically have another sport in baseball going on, finishing tonight, of course. But still, I think it's an NBA season that people have really looked forward to. There's been some marquee names that have moved around the league, and I think everything's kind of interesting to see how things are going to work out. I watched the first Houston game against Minnesota, and and I already saw the first little mini confrontation. I don't know if you want to call it that with Westbrook and Harden, but I had to leave right before the end of the game. They ended up losing that game. Of course, that's the only game they lost so far. But it's still a close game. Could have won it, should have won it maybe, but it's still an interesting dynamic that's going to be to see that team play together with Westbrook and Harden and now like Anthony Davis. I was talking with Dylan earlier today, like 40 points and 20 rebounds, unreal.
In the first 3 quarters, he did that in the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, did he not play the fourth quarter?
I don't think so. Nobody's done that for the Lakers since Shaq in like 2003.
You're right. That's Dylan looked that up also, and I was just because I was like, wow, that's just unheard of, and
yeah,
but that's impressive. What else looked good for you this week so far in this first week of NBA?
Well, we got 3 teams that are undefeated so far after the first week. It's the Sixers, the Spurs, and the Timberwolves. I haven't got to watch a ton of the NBA. I have seen 4 or 5 games since we live near the LA area. I've seen all of the Clippers games and all the Lakers games. I've watched those, and the Clippers look really good. They stumbled against the Suns, which is kind of crazy. Suns got hot shooting. Devin Booker got hot shooting on Patrick Beverly, and they went back and forth. But the Clippers look really good. They're solid. They have a really good bench. A couple games where I watched them, guys were coming off the bench and hitting shots. Their defense and their energy is really good. The Clippers are going to be hard to beat. So I've had fun watching them. The Lakers are fun to watch, and they don't even have 2 of their best players right now. So Kuzma hasn't played, and then Rondo, when he gets back, will be the starting point guard. It's already been announced. But they're already fun to watch just with James and Davis together now. I mean, James last night threw like a half-court alley-oop to Davis, and he like reverse slammed it. So they're already got the highlights. We got some LA Showtime back, in LA. So LA basketball, I think, is going to be big this year. And then, of course, you always got the teams like the Spurs, where once you think all their great guys are gone, they just keep plugging away, and they're just going to keep beating you like 82-78. They're just going to win low-scoring games and play good defense and hit enough baskets, and they're not the Patriots, but they win. Like they figure out a way to win, and they win ugly, and they don't care, and they figure it out. They figure out the matchups, and so it'll be fun to watch the NBA this year. I mean, Kyrie put up 50 points his first game with the Nets. That was huge. That 40-20 you just mentioned. So we're already getting some pretty big stat games from some guys right off the jump, which is nice to see, because in a lot of sports, the start of the season, it looks ugly. Like it still looks like they're trying to get stuff together. It doesn't look like the best product most of the time at the start of the season. But a lot of these teams, they already look like they're in mid-season form from some of the games I've seen. Intense, good shooting, going at each other. The energy is there, the aggressiveness is there. So, yeah, it's been good first week so far, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of good marquee teams, a lot of movement and players. I still would like to see Portland make a deeper run this year, and I don't know if they're built for it.
They got to the Western Conference Finals last year, so they made some moves. They got Hassan Whiteside at center. As soon as Nurkic gets back from injury, their other center, and they have that 2 big center depth there, I think they'll they'll do just as good almost they did last year. They still have most of the same pieces. Kent Bazemore came in. He kind of replaces, you know, small forward Aminu, but they still have a good roster. Like they still, I think they'll do good. It's just the West is so packed every year that it's hard. It's hard to get through the West.
Yeah,
At least you don't have to worry about my Golden State Warriors anymore in the West. They're going to be
man.
taking an exit from maybe the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I was watching or listening to something that they're deep. It's really they're deep. I mean, they're scoring points, but they're still losing
Yeah.
by like the largest margin ever for them or something like that. They've always been ranked in the top 5 defense, and now they're like second to last or something like that.
Well, we lost so many guys. 9 of our players on this roster are under 23 years old. Steph Curry is the oldest player on our team at 31. And then Draymond's right there, and everyone else is pretty dang young. I mean, we have like 4 or 5 rookies on the team. I think one's starting, 3 come off the bench.
Yeah,
We have a couple like G League guys that moved up. Like our roster is nowhere what it was. We do not have the Andre Iguodala's, the Sean
right.
Livingston's coming off the bench. We don't have any good veteran talent. It is basically Steph and Draymond playing their ass off. And D'Angelo Russell, we got him too, and he's looked okay. But the rest is just a bunch of young dudes that we have no idea what kind of NBA players they're going to be yet. Like, we have no idea. Most of them haven't even – this is their first week. Like, half the team stepping onto an NBA court. So, it's nuts to watch because you don't know what's going to happen.
You know what the bright side to that is? Your other Bay Area team is crushing it.
Yeah, that's the only joy I have right now. And it's a big joy.
So obviously, let's move on to this shouldn't take very long. Actually, baseball. Last night's game. I watched this game, and again I wanted to pull from the Astros, but man, Washington's bats against Verlander early, and then just continuing through the rotation to hit home runs. I mean, the deep ball was their savior last night.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I was really excited. So I'm pulling for the Astros, not because I'm an Astros fan, just because they're going to make me look smart if they win tonight. Because in episode 2, I said they were going to win the World Series a couple months ago during the regular season.
Yep.
So that's the only reason. I actually know 2 different guys that play for the Washington Nationals. So shout out to Matt Chico and Corey Castro. They're former Nationals players. One was a pitcher, one played outfield. And so this is kind of cool for them to see. It's their old franchise they played for and their first World Series. So I wouldn't be disappointed. I wouldn't be upset if the Nationals win. It's always cool to see a franchise get their first championship, no matter who it is. But last night, I mean, Strasburg gave them every chance in the world now by getting them to this game 7. I mean, he had two runs off of him early, and then he was basically lights out. And for a kid that came in to the league like nine years ago, I think, I mean, there was so much pressure on him. They were limiting his innings, and that was such a huge thing when he was younger because they didn't want him to blow his arm out and throw himself out. And, he was throwing 100 miles an hour when nobody was coming out of basically high school. Basically, Chapman was the only guy throwing 100 in the league consistently. And there was so much buildup as this is going to be like the best pitching prospect we've seen since forever. And now he's 9 years into his career. He finally gets his moment in the World Series. And it was kind of really cool to see him lock in and be what everybody said he was going to be, because that was a lot of pressure on that dude for a lot of years when he was young. And it's nice to see a guy not fizzle out or get, mixed out of the fold or whatever, if you will, and show up. He showed up, he did his job for his team, and he gave them a chance to win the World Series. And who knows, if this game stays close, he might have to come in and pitch an inning. I mean, it's game 7. So even if you pitched last night, everybody's available. If you got to win, you might pitch one batter. even if you pitch 7 innings on a game 6 the night before. If you got to get one out, you got to go in. So we might see him later tonight. Who knows, depending on how this game goes. But yeah, just a lights out performance for him. So that was kind of cool to watch, you know.
Yeah. So bottom of the third, Houston gets just slapped a ball for a single. And so
Altuve.
they have is that who it was? I couldn't see his back of his
Yeah.
jersey. And
I love that
left
guy.
center.
He's smaller than I am.
No, that's not possible.
No, dude's like 5'5", 160. I'm telling you. He's probably my height and 25 pounds lighter than I am.
So another positive
monster.
Another positive Oregon Ducks story that isn't related to football. What's that?
Absolutely.
And I have to go to the hangar. I have to hang on. I have to go to the hangar 24 bucket of beer.
Better. So the Oregon Ducks women's basketball team came out ranked in the AP poll as the #1 ranked team in the nation for the first time in school history. And they got to the Final Four last year, and they have really the far, I think, she is heads above everyone to win National Player of the Year in women's basketball. Sabrina Ionescu, she's a guard, and she is lights out. Watch some Oregon women's basketball games. This girl can hoop. She hits so many hard shots, goes to the basket hard, takes hard fouls. She's awesome. She is a great player. I can't wait. I would imagine, unless there's really a tall center in college this year in women's basketball that kills it, I imagine she'll be the first pick in the WNBA draft fairly easily. I mean, we're talking she's going to be like a Sue Bird. She'll be like a Diana Taurasi if she stays healthy. I mean, that's the path it looks like she's taking because she's solid. She is a solid player, and I watched her a lot last year. And so I'm excited to see if they can do it, if they can get back to the Final Four and make a run at it again. They return almost all of their girls from last year. So they really have a chance, I think, to play really well and get back to the Final Four. But it's just awesome. Awesome being a former, Duck, and all my alumni friends that are Ducks, to do something historically at your school when your school's been around since the 1800s. This is the first women's team to ever be ranked in the preseason as the #1 team in the nation. So shout out to the women Ducks basketball team. That's just awesome.
So what did you like this week?
What I liked this week? Well, one thing I liked that I won't get into too much, it was kind of a like and didn't like. So I really like that Drew Brees is back because I'm a Drew Brees fan. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks, and he came back healthy and he lit it up. I mean, he came back and he was Drew Brees in his first game back after missing, four games. But it was kind of sad because Teddy Bridgewater, he's been hurt so much. He hasn't got to play mostly in his career. People said he's kind of a bust. And you know what? He won 4 games in a row. Like, he was the perfect backup quarterback that you needed to have while your Hall of Fame quarterback was shelved for the first half of the first season. And he got it done. He won every game he started. You can't ask anything more from a backup. He won every game you asked him to start. So that was one of my positives. And then my other positives was just New England and the Niners being dominant again. Their defense were dominant, especially my Niners. So Kyle Allen came in, the backup for the Panthers, who's now the starter, took over for Cam Newton, been playing lights out since he came in, winning games just like Teddy Bridgewater. Hadn't thrown an interception yet in any game in the season he had played, and the 49ers picked him off 3 times. So his first 3 interceptions of the season were last week to the 49ers. And I was happy about our offense, too, because it was a blowout. Yep. We scored 51 points. I mean, you score 51 points, you better damn win. Like, that's a lot of points in the NFL. So, that was what I liked.
One of the things I really liked was just the 49ers, because at the beginning of the season and when we started the show, I picked the 49ers as my sleeper team, and man, have they've already exceeded sleeper status. They're into respect status, and
Yeah.
every analyst out there is giving them just tons of credit, and so it's not a fluke. They're beating some decent teams, and I tomorrow night's game against Arizona, as much as I want to like Arizona, it's just they won't stand a chance, and we'll get into that. But so I really liked it. I was able to pick up Tevin Coleman off the waiver wire because he was available. And if it wasn't for him, I would not have won my first week of fantasy football in your league. I was 0-6.
Yeah, you were.
6. Now I'm or 0-7. Now I'm 1-7. Yeah. God dang. I've never sucked that bad. And now unfortunately I had 3 Rams on my fantasy, and I have to bench them because they have a bye this week. So I was doing that earlier today, trying to drop people and pick people up, and slim pickings. Anyway, so I really like that too. But the other thing I really liked, and I was Tiger Woods' win at the Zozo Championship. I believe that was the inaugural championship for this or the inaugural play, whatever it is, round. And but it's just good to see him. Got his 82nd win. Of course, I know you know this, but who is he tied with? Because I'm going to give you credit for putting it because you actually wrote it down. Who's he tied with now with 82 for the most all-time wins?
Sam Snead.
Oh, yeah. I knew you had that in the outline, but I wanted to give you credit for it. But yeah, so he's going to win one more and retire. That's you heard it right here. And so hey, if you're actually, for those people that are watching, or if you watch this in replay, do you think Tiger should win after winning one more? He's been struggling with health. He's still young, could enjoy life. He's got $100 billion. Should he continue to play and try and win 10 more championships, or do you think he should just go out on top as the winningest? He'll be the oh gosh, it just left my mind, and I had it. NASCAR, Richard Petty. Yeah, he could be the Richard Petty. That no one's ever going to catch Richard Petty. Does he stay in long enough to win so many championships that no one could ever possibly catch him? I think Jeff Gordon's number 3, and he's still like 20 wins behind him. So, but anyway, so you're watching. Go ahead and put in the comments. Do you think Tiger, if he wins another one and wins it outright, should just quit the game there, drop the mic, walk away, and enjoy life, or do you think he should just continue to try and extend that, given his health?
I want to see him when he's 50 enter the Champions League. The older guys. So the older guys, once you're 50, you can join the Champions League. I want to see him do that and win like every tournament every week. Like when he's the youngest guy, when he's 50, go in and just be like blasting all these guys that are like 65 years old. That when he beat them in like 2000, and they were just leaving like at the end of their PGA career, and he came in as a young kid and started whipping their ass. I want to see him whip their ass again when they're old men. Like second round of Tiger coming in when he's 50 and just take all of their purses, because guess what? He'll do the same thing for him, just like he did, because people would watch Tiger Woods still play when he's 55 years old, 60 years old. He'll be like an Arnold Palmer. He'll be like a Gary Player, a Jack Nicklaus. People will watch stops golfing. So if he wants to golf till he's 70, people will watch him golf until he's 70 years old. I will.
You're right. No, I would too, because the reality is, if he went to play in the, what do you call it, the 50 over league,
the championship tour,
the Champions Tour would be more popular than the PGA Tour. So, I mean, it's reality. Tiger Woods is PGA golf. There are so many great players that could beat him week in, week out. but unfortunately, they're not the personality that is Tiger Woods. They're not the product that is Tiger Woods. And because, during their prime, there hasn't been anyone during their prime as dominant as Tiger Woods.
Well, and here's the thing, and this is how I sum it up with how easily it is to tell if you're like a legendary marquee player in any sport, really. And this is a very simple way for him. There is so many people that do not golf, right? But they play Tiger Woods golf on their video game system for the last 20 years because one comes out every single year. And I would say Phil Mickelson has been the second most popular golfer, maybe.
Agreed.
For the whole time that Tiger's been playing. I've never seen a Phil Mickelson golf video game anywhere. I've never seen people that don't golf ask about Phil Mickelson, really, or any of that stuff. And he's the second most popular golfer probably in the last 20 years to Tiger. And people still play Tiger Woods golf. Whether they golf or not, they play his video game. They know who he is. Everyone knows who Tiger Woods is.
And I thoroughly enjoy Phil Mickelson. I will watch.
Yeah, me too.
I will definitely watch a round for Phil Mickelson because he's entertaining, and and that's what will Phil do. So, what's the saying? There is a saying, because he'll take the most unlikely shots. Gosh darn it! There's a saying. Anyway, maybe I'll come up with it later. But I want to get into what we didn't like, and so we just finished the bottom of the third, and once again, Astros had runners on first and second, and deep fly to right center for the third out. So we're still 1-0 Astros. For those of you still watching our show instead of Major League Baseball, because we are much more entertaining than Major League Baseball. So thank you. If you are watching on, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, please share, or if you're on Facebook, do a watch party, invite your friends, because I know right now they have nothing better to do than to join you on a watch party for this program. So do that. Click the watch party button. And so in the we both really had what we didn't like this week, and so for those who are reviewing, I really want to hear from those who are viewing, or if you watch us on replay, put in what you would have done. So you get to be a coach. You're an NFL coach right now. So put your mindset right now that you're a coach. It's the fourth quarter. There's 43 seconds left in the game. You have a timeout, third down, and your run game so far has produced 162 yards of rushing. Remember, you have 43 seconds and a timeout, so you have plenty of time to run another play and then call a timeout. What do you do? I mean, what do you do? Do you run a play? Do you, I don't know, kick the field goal with a play in your pocket? What do you do? And Dave, I mean, I'll tell you, I'm running a play. I'm an aggressive coach. I've got to win games. I have to get to the playoffs, and I have to win a Super Bowl. That's what I get paid to do in the NFL. And being a team, which we'll share in a second, that has seen games go away from missed field goals, and in this game earlier on, seen a field goal earlier in the game doink off the upright. So, the kicking game has never been your strength, but your run game today in this game today has been. I'm getting pretty passionate about this. I apologize, but I've run 162 yards against this team. I got one play in my pocket. I got a timeout. What do you do? I'm running the ball. I'm pulling out my best run play. I probably won't pass the ball, but I'm going to pull out my best run play, and I'm going to try and get 6-7 more yards. And What do you do, Dave? Kick a field goal or run a play?
First, if I'm the coach, I have the special teams coach right next to me, and I go through the variables. Um, what hash mark does a kicker feel most comfortable? Does he want to be in the middle of the field? Does he want to be on the left hash, the right hash? Is there wind? How much wind? Where is it blowing? I get all of that information, which you can get easily, 2 plays, because you think, okay, if we have to kick a field goal, come here. What's the situation? Where does he want to be? Where does he feel comfortable? Where do we want this ball to be at if we have to kick a field goal to win the game? And so if you're the Bears coach, Nagy, you need to have that information. And I would probably load up, and I'd run a power run to wherever that special teams coach told me you want the ball to be. If he wants it right down the middle, run some sort of power run formation, run play up the middle, and maybe you get 2 yards. 2 yards is 2 yards, man. They call it the game of inches for a reason. How wide is a crossbar? It's not 2 yards wide. It's not 6 feet wide. So if you hit a crossbar, we're talking inches. So it could be a matter of inches where you are on the field to making a field goal or not. So I would definitely run a play with that much time, because even if you get a few yards is better than no yards. And you have the timeout. So it's not like you're going to run out of time. And you shouldn't, if you're playing scared, like, oh, we're good here, I don't want a fumble to happen or something, and we lose the ball, and then you can't play chicken shit.
You can't play like that. Exactly.
You can't think that way. Like, if you think that way, you're already going to lose. You're a loser. Like, you've lost. So, I mean, I would say you run it up there. You try to get, a few yards. You try to get the ball position wherever that kicker wants to get the ball, and then you call your timeout. But I think you just have to run a play, especially with the history of how they lost so many games last year because their kicking was terrible.
Yep.
And, the crowd was already booing them the first half because they can't score inside the red zone. They're inside the red zone like 5 times and came away with like 9 points or something like that. Like, they couldn't score already. The crowd's already on your ass for things you've done earlier in the game. And so that, I mean, every fan, just like we said, is like, what, you're quitting? Like, you're just conceding this down when you could get more yardage to get closer, when it wasn't a short kick. It was like 41, 43 yards. Like,
it's 41 yards.
Yeah, if you're a pro kicker, should you make a 41-yard field goal? Yes. You should be able to make a 41-yard field goal. But if you can make it a 38-yard field goal, like, make it a 38-yard field goal.
And he didn't miss it by much.
Close as you can. No, he didn't.
So 38 yards could have been the game. And they're at 40 yards. They, of course, Dave mentioned it for anyone that hasn't caught on yet, because I didn't say it in my piece, but it was the Chicago Bears against the San Diego Chargers, and they're up. They have a timeout left, 43 seconds, and they chose to kick the field goal to down the ball, so you lose a yard there. So they were at 40. They down the ball to 41 yards. And, so it's a 41-yard kick. You've already had one doink off the upright. You have the wind, and, and that you don't try. I get it. You want it on the right hash mark but the Chicago Bears have a lot of depth in their run game and in their play calling. They have a lot of creativity in their run play. And to listen to the coach in his post game that basically says, no, it never crossed my mind to run the ball or throw the ball. Reporters were asking, well, gosh, you had a timeout. Why wouldn't you run the ball? Oh, it just never crossed my mind. We could lose 3, 4, 7 yards. Well, then that means you have no faith. I mean, if I'm a reporter, what you're saying is you have no faith in your run game. You have no faith in your team. You just said, I have no faith in my team because they could lose yards or fumble the ball. How many times did they fumble the ball today? If that was a problem, if Cohen's fumbling the ball once, twice today, sure, I may not want to put it in his hands when they know I'm going to run the ball. And that's what he said. They know I'm going to run the ball. Oh, you can't be more creative than that? Is that really what you're saying? Is I got nothing. So I'm just praying the kicker makes it. I mean, that to me is just that. It's just poor coaching. But so that was my upset, and I saw in the outline that was your what you didn't like today, that the Bears blew another game at home this week playing the Chargers, and the Chargers, they can score points, but they haven't been good, and so the Bears.
Did you see? You see, even though the Chargers won, they fired their offensive coordinator, Ken Wisenhunt, on Monday.
Yes.
After the game. It's like you won and you still fired him. And he's been a former head coach and everything. And it's like, geez, man, you're getting fired after a win. How are you going to lose? How are you going to get fired on your day off? And you just won. Like, that's crazy.
You go home like, oh, thank God I have a job for another week. Whew. Oh, wait, I don't.
Good thing he missed that field goal. Oh, no. Get your resume dusted off, buddy.
You'd have got fired 12 hours earlier.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, that sucks for Ken. And we both also, I'm gonna give you this one. We both also had the same MVP this week.
Oh yeah, I thought it was easy for me. Yeah, I mean, Tevin Coleman, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
4 touchdowns in the game, only third 49er to ever do it, So
yeah,
that was awesome day for him. 3 rushing, 1 receiving. Just found that end zone.
And not against they weren't playing it. They weren't playing the Jets or Miami. And
no. It was against a team with a decent record.
Yeah.
I mean, Luke Kuechly. There was one of the touchdowns where he got through Luke Kuechly, and Luke Kuechly is one of the best middle linebackers I've ever seen. Near the end of the game, I think it was his last touchdown, he ran in up the middle. Kuechly was there and probably just worn out. Coleman got by him, and that's usually a play Kuechly makes all the time, filling the hole. And so, yeah, it was against, a better opponent than it could have been against. So he should be pretty happy about that.
Yeah. And I think you said it that you said the Billy Kilmer and Jerry Rice, right? And it's been a long time since someone's had 4 touchdowns in a game.
Jerry Rice in 93. Yeah, Jerry Rice in 1993. That's the last person to do it.
Yeah.
And he did it twice. He did it in 90 and 93. So
definitely it's a big game, or a big name to associate yourself with. What the 49ers are doing this year is just freaking real. And I can't explain it. I didn't expect it. I figured they'd be a sleeper to win the NFC West, but I did not think they're one of the teams that could literally go to the Super Bowl the way they're playing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
but
oh my goodness, you just froze up and I can't hear you.
Oh, we're back. Am I back?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was spinning wheel. Yeah, both things went off and spinning wheel. But I give it up to my Niners a little bit more than the Patriots, because we have the Rams and the Seahawks that both have really good records. They're in fight for playoff position right now in our division, where, the Bills have won 5 games. I'll give them that. But the Patriots have basically played garbage. They have played garbage teams. I look at their schedule. They continue to play garbage. They don't play a good team hardly all year. So I looked at their schedule today. Week 11, they play Philadelphia away. Philadelphia is not even that good. These are the best teams I can find left on their schedule.
Right.
They play Dallas at home week 12, and then they play Kansas City at home in week 14, which Mahomes should be back by then, which will make a huge difference. But then after that, they end the season with Cincinnati, Buffalo, and Miami.
Oh, geez.
They'll have clinched the division and maybe the AFC by then, with 3 games left in the season. So they really don't play anybody. The Chiefs and this next weekend, which we'll get into things to watch, the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday night, I think will be the toughest game they've had all year by far. Not even close.
We'll get into that one. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I was listening. I was going down to a client yesterday. I was listening to Stephen A. Smith on a show that he was on, and so Amber, boo. What's boo for? Are you
Need more context.
yeah? What are you booing? Oh,
It's
there it is. Can't
Halloween.
stand the Pats.
Oh,
Can't stand the Pats.
I
Thank you.
I I thought she was doing her best ghost impression for Halloween season.
Yeah, can't stand the Pats. I can't either. We're on the same page there, and they haven't played anyone yet. They've, for winning the Super Bowl, they've got the easiest schedule in the league, I think. I actually need to go and see what the strength of schedule is, because that they don't. I mean, maybe the league didn't project that Miami would be as bad as they are, but they haven't played anyone. And I don't want to give anything up because we're going to talk about this week's picks and such, but yeah. Go chart. Oh, come on. Now we're just getting unreal. I'm good with I can't stand the Pats, but go Chargers. Okay. Yay, Amber. Love you. Thanks for watching. But their schedule is pathetic. You are absolutely correct. You're quick on the keyboard there, Amber. But and just for your no, we've got bottom of the fourth, 1 out. Houston's at bat. And Houston is leading 1-0. So now I just lost where I was at. But blah blah blah. Our picks. We were at our
Get
picks.
to our picks.
I really thought, because Dave has done a fantastic job at the show, and each week he sends me his picks, and so I look at them and I say, okay, this, and this, and I respond, and I really thought Dave was going to just bam open up a lead on me this week, and just be able to start to take over this season. I even left when we were on vacation in Italy. I left my cell phone. It fell out in a car, a taxi, and I just got my phone back today. I ended up getting a new phone, but they finally shipped me my phone, and so Dave's sending me pics. I'm not getting them anyway. I thought, man, without really watching football or looking into anything, without a lot of internet connection, that you were going to walk away from me. But so this week's picks, actually, you went 2-3. You won Green Bay and San Francisco, or you picked up, your wins were Green Bay and San Francisco, and my wins were Green Bay, San Francisco, and the Chargers. Thank you for putting that on the outline, because I would not have known.
That burned me up.
What do you remember what it was with the Chargers?
It was like 3.5 or something. Bears.
Okay. And
Bears were favored by 3.5.
Okay. So that brings us out. You ready, folks? Woo! Man, Dave, you had 2 weeks to get an advantage on me.
I just hope my picks are right in Vegas this weekend when I'm putting money on it.
we are just barely over 500 each, and still after 7 weeks, seven or 8 weeks, we are still tied. And I really thought I was picking different games than you. I thought
picking that spread is way different than just picking who's going to win the game. You're
so right.
There's been a lot where we've picked the right team that won, but they just didn't meet the spread, or vice versa. That's a tricky deal. Hats off to all those great sports gamblers out there.
Hey, Chris.
Absolutely.
Wow, thanks for joining us. It's the first time you've joined us that I've seen a comment. So,
he commented last week. Yeah, while you were gone, he got on.
Oh, gotcha. But you're absolutely right.
Steelers.
Rough start, but you got to love the come from behind. And Amber, yes, thank you. So, all right. So, getting into this week's picks for us, Our first one is the Vikings are at the Chiefs, and right now they're at even. So we're gonna pick them at even. So just pick who wins.
Yeah.
So I don't think we still don't have Patrick Mahomes because
I know, and I thought maybe that's why this one was up at even because I kept checking it since Monday, and I checked it this afternoon before I put this on the outline because it didn't have a score, it didn't even say even. And so I went on a bunch of spread sites and there was just nothing there. So I don't know if they were waiting to see Thursday usually when that injury release comes out and see if Mahomes is on there until they make the actual spread or even. I couldn't find anything anywhere. So I just put it as even because I couldn't find a spread, and even is the lowest spread of the week. And we always put the lowest one on there. So I figured I'd throw it on because right now there's no info for it that I could find. So I think probably tomorrow.
Yeah, gosh, it says a return to action would be surprising in week 9, but anything seems possible. Then it goes on to say Mahomes was limited at practice. Though Mahomes hasn't been ruled out for Sunday's game against the Vikings, a more plausible scenario is that he returns to action in week 10 versus the Titans. I mean, so this is a tough one because the Vikings were flailing, I think, and then with Thielen and all of them basically calling out the lack of offense, the lack of creativity, and a lack of passing, basically stretching the field. After that week of everybody bitching about the lack of offense, they've won. They've opened up the offense. Everyone is Cousins and everyone is getting the ball down the field, and they're playing like I think they want to. So that's really hard to bet against. But going up against a Chiefs team that, even though they have a backup, is still a damn good team.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'll take the Chiefs.
I'll take the Vikings. Without Mahomes, I'll take the Vikings.
Yeah. So I think the Chiefs defense will win it. I'm gonna go with that. The Chiefs defense will show up, and I don't even have them in fantasy, but I think the Chiefs defense will show up, and that'll be the difference in the game to win. So, all right, that one will set us apart. All right, next one. The Colts are favored by 1.5 visiting the Steelers, still without Ben Roethlisberger. Could you have picked like easier games? I just got back. Jacoby Brissett. Well, I do have Jacoby Brissett in one of my fantasy leagues, so I'd like to see him do well. So, of course, I should probably pick the Colts. They did win last week. Of course, so did the Steelers. So,
Steelers had some major second half adjustments they had to make to win that game, though.
I don't know. You pick this one first.
Okay. I'm gonna take 1.5. I'm going to have to take the Colts because James Conner may also not play this week. He went out at the end of that game on Monday night with an injury, and I don't know if they'll have their starting running back or their starting quarterback. And then the way they've been playing so far, even when they're on the field, and the Colts have been playing pretty solid, I'm going to have to take the Colts on the road.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same place. I'm going to take the Colts with that. Because, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to take it because you took it, and I don't have really. If anything, we both lose. We both lose.
Oh, there you go.
And so Amber says she's in for the Chiefs, and she's in for the Colts.
Good picks.
Chris says pressure and that he will play, and I'm gonna say that that's Conner. James Conner. Yeah, and I was just gonna. I was just gonna try it, and
I need him.
Yeah, I was just gonna try and see if what the update was on him because I didn't look it up, but All right, so on to the next. So, I think this could be different. So we got the Patriots are favored 3.5 visiting the Baltimore Ravens. I hate the Patriots. I just hate them. But I don't want to just be vote emotionally. I like Jackson. They played a little bit well against the Rams, but the Rams the Patriot. This is the first test for the Patriots. I'm taking the Ravens because they could still lose by a field goal and I win.
Yeah,
I'm taking the Ravens.
That 0.5 means a lot sometimes. I think I'm going to be different, and I'm just going to take the Patriots because they're the Patriots. And he's still a young quarterback. Belichick will try to box him in somehow, stop his big plays with his legs. He'll run some sort of crazy zone defense to make him have to think like a genius to find the pockets in the defense. I think he's going to throw a lot of weird stuff at that young kid and really try to keep him in the pocket, make them run the ball with Ingram, which I think they can. I think Ingram could really be the star for the Ravens this week. I think he could run pretty well against the Patriots, but I'm just going to take the Patriots because they're the Patriots and be different. And they haven't lost yet, and they're still blowing everyone out. So until they stop blowing everyone out, which could very well be this week, I wouldn't mind seeing them lose to the Ravens. But just because they're still blowing everyone out, I'll pick the Patriots. Until they don't do so anymore, I'll keep picking them.
Yeah, and again, I think my pick is more they could win, but I'm hoping they only win by maybe a field goal. And it gets people like Stephen A. Smith that I listened to yesterday that put them at the top of his list. You just slow down a little bit, but I just want to. I like to keep those jerks will win. I just may want to keep this post up. Chris, come on, Chris, come on, Homer.
He's a Steeler fan.
But
he's in the Northeast.
So you and Steve Devine will get along just great. All right, next game. This is a personal game for me. Titans at the Panthers. The Panthers are favored by 3.5. Now, the Titans, of course, if you've all been paying attention, do not have Marcus Mariota behind center. They've decided to go with, now this will be the third game, with Ryan Tannehill.
He's playing pretty good, too.
They've barely won. They barely won the last 2 games. Wins are wins. But Marcus has beaten. But Marcus has beaten Tampa Bay handily the last couple of years. So Marcus has done better against Tampa Bay than Ryan Tannehill.
They're playing Carolina, so it doesn't matter what he did against Tampa
whatever. Bay. I don't give a shit. I was hoping that the trade deadline yesterday would have seen Marcus Mariota go to someone competitive. He should have. He's just too damn easy going. Should have demanded to be traded. You can't.
He'll be the starter for Cincinnati next year.
Oh God, I hope not. Oh, Dave. Hey, folks, this show's over. This show's over, folks. Dave has just ruined it for everyone.
No, actually, Miami will draft one. Cincinnati will draft one. So he'll be backing up some rookie somewhere on some crap team or something.
No, he won't.
He'll be on the Niners. He'll be our backup.
No, stop it. He'll be a starter in the NFL.
Where?
I say Titans, Uncle Dave. That's his team. Mom says Panthers. Give me some time. I'll come up with it. There's a great team out there.
Through the teams, I can't figure it out.
Okay. I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
Washington, the
Hell no.
Redskins.
They suck. They suck also. They have no
We can't
future.
go to a good team. Any good team has a good quarterback already. That's
No.
why they win games.
I'll tell you where he needs to go, because this person will get hurt for the third year in a row, and their season will completely crap. Philadelphia Eagles.
That wouldn't be bad. That wouldn't be bad if he goes there.
Carson Wentz will get hurt. He does every year.
Yeah.
Chris is
Wentz
what beer
gets
are you?
hurt. Yeah.
Chris is like, what beer are you drinking? I'm gonna go to the Hangar 24 Bucket O beer. And if you haven't paid attention, Dave's actually got a sports theme. El Segundo. He's got the Steve Austin Broken Skull Indian Pale IPA. I've gone with the Tamer, I guess. It's not my beer isn't associated with the WWF. The Maui Big Swell Indian Pale IPA. We both actually chose. We don't plan any of this. We both chose Indian Pale IPAs this week. But Dave, you won the coolness factor for beer this week. So
give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah. It's not a competition though.
This beer will make you want to give someone a stone cold stunner. I'll tell you that much. Finishing move. You'll want to finishing move a guy after a few of these. Drop that big Hogan leg down on him. Go off the top ropes like the Macho Man.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Amber Reyes, ask your husband about my off the top ropes elbow. I break hotel beds with that finishing move.
Oh my goodness. You guys, you're ridiculous. And I mean, when Dave and I go back a long time. I think I first met you. You were like 12 years old when I began dating your sister.
Yeah.
And I think you were about 12 years old. And I'll tell you what, Dave was a total WWF fanatic and had
WWF, man.
You had one of those rings, and you had the
rings,
the player, the
action figures,
and I mean, you would know better than anyone. Yes, nice.
I grew up with friends body slamming pillows and teddy bears, jumping off the top of couches and dropping elbows, all the finishing moves. We'd clothesline each other in the backyard. Oh yeah. We were all in the WWF back then. That was a big deal back then.
All right. So on to our final pick of the week is every week. If you don't know, we have our 4 regular picks, and then we pick the biggest spread. We choose the game with the biggest spread. And I again, shout out to this single team for having the biggest spread of the week. I could not have predicted this to have ever happened in the NFL in 2019. The 49ers are favored by 10 over the Cardinals. And
this just happened because Washington plays Miami. Washington's favored by 9.5. The Niners beat them by half a point to get the top spread of the week.
So you say the Washington against who?
I think Miami. We're favored
9.5,
and Washington's terrible.
Oh my God!
Whoever's playing Miami, I think it was 9.5.
Dave, you and I could beat Miami by 10.
Maybe.
I mean, that's basically what they're saying. If Washington can beat Miami by 9.5, that's basically saying anyone could beat Miami by 9.5. Sorry if you're a Washington fan, but come on, you got to own up to it. They suck badly. So the 49ers, I mean, honestly, they scored 51 points against Carolina this last week, and
go ahead, you got to say it.
This is hard for me.
You don't want to, but you gotta say it.
Wait, stop it. This is really hard because I know you're going to pick the 49ers. It's not even going to be a thought for you. You decided this before the schedule even came out.
No.
No. But you know,
and I'd like to throw out an olive branch to you, Chuck. So I have this book here that I can send over to Arizona if they'll send it back. It's called Building a Champion, and it's by Bill Walsh, who signed it for me. And so if I need to send this to Arizona, maybe they could read this real quick before tomorrow night, and they'll only lose by 13 or 17 or something like that, Oh, and there's Bill Walsh's.
Sorry, losing you, Dave. Oh, I totally lost you. You totally froze. So we'll go to a couple of comments to see if Dave ever comes back. Amber says, "Rub that brick, Dave," and it's just starting. Niners all the way. Dave, I told. Oh, there you are. Now you can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I totally lost you. Actually went black. Yeah, Amber said, "Rub that brick, Dave." Just
This isn't a brick. This is Candlestick right here, baby.
Oh, that's right, Candlestick Park.
This was under our feet. Her husband knows. He's the one that put it in his bag after the game. So he bought $400 worth of souvenirs.
If anyone from the authorities are watching, that's really just it's a fake. And Amber's got laughing so hard.
You'd have to rip that out of my cold, dead hands to get that from me.
So, getting back to this. All right, I got to be real. I can't let you open up that kind of lead on me. Yeah, I'm taking the Niners. There's no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt. They
got to.
The Cardinals lost. Okay, the Cardinals lost to the first game. Breeze is back 31-9. They won the previous 3 games. That impressive for the Cardinals and that young quarterback. But yeah, I see Jimmy G going up against what's that sucky quarterback's name? That plays for the Patriots. Who plays for the Patriots? Tom Brady. Yeah.
Thomas.
In the Super Bowl this year. So
Tommy.
If the 49ers are going to get to play Tom Brady this year, they have to beat the Cardinals, and they will beat the Cardinals by 10. They dropped Cardinals last week dropped 9, 49ers dropped 51 against a better defense. Well, Cardinals have a decent defense. Shit. 49ers. I don't even know. I want to change. I keep wanting to change my mind, but it isn't going to happen. 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You're going to pick the Cardinals?
Good ring to it.
You saying you're picking the Cardinals?
Only against Miami. Cardinals basically have no running back. They just got Drake from Miami in the trade this week, which will be good for them because David Johnson's out. Their other backup running back's out, Edmonds. So they got Drake because they basically have no running back. So that was a very smart move by them because he should be able to come on and do something. But he's just been with the team for 3 days. So, with the way the defense is playing for the 49ers, I just can't. I don't even know if the Cardinals will score 10 points, let alone not get beat by 10 points. I mean, we're pitching shutouts over here for the Niners.
Yeah, the Cardinals will score. But what's more frustrating is that Larry Fitzgerald hasn't had, I think, a 70-yard passing game this season. He's had touchdowns. He did have an opportunity to touchdown this week and couldn't get his second foot down with plenty of space in, but plenty of space, and so unfortunate for him. But I think it's an unfortunate season for Larry. So we agreed on that. So moving on, Dave, you fantasy in your league, you won this week by 0.20. Who really cares? You won. Who
Do you know
really?
how I won? Do you want to know how I won? It's the worst. It was I
Go
shouldn't have
ahead.
won. So I played my friend Derek, who's known my wife forever, lives up in Yakima, Washington. Used to have Seahawk season tickets, big Seahawk fan, and he must have not looked at his lineup because I beat him by 0.20 points. 0.2 points. He played his defense that was on a bye week, the Baltimore defense, so he got 0 points.
Oh,
He had his Steeler defense on the bench against the Dolphins on Monday night, and I know they had at least 2 interceptions. The Steelers did. He would have beat me if he just would have put his defense in that didn't have a bye week. He would have won, and so I won by default. So I get an asterisk a little bit next to this win that I had this week because it was just him not checking his team and switching his bye defense out.
and
Win's a win. I'll take it.
win is a win. And I was gonna let's see. I gotta pop this up real quick. Let's see. So hopefully you all can see that. I won my first game of the season this week against the Average Joes. As you can see, I'm doing so well this week or this season, 1-7, and I beat a 500 team, or I made him 500. But yeah, you and Dave can easily tell you how I won this. How did I win this week, Dave?
Oh, Tevin Coleman, 4
Yes.
touchdowns.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Without him, I'm 0-8. So, yeah. So thank you, Tevin. And honestly, I don't know how, but he was available. I did not have that player. He was on. So if anybody's looking for an update, it's bottom of the 5th. Houston's at bat with a runner on first. There, Houston's still up 1-0, and they got 2 strikes on the batter. Bregman is up to bat. No. Yes, Bregman's up to bat. Who's 0 for 1. And the way he was looking, I thought that was gonna be a home run, but foul ball. Anyway, so we got through fantasy, and so next week we're gonna check, and we're basically gonna total everything up and see where we are mid-season and give out our mid-season awards. And the only reason I say that is because Dave told me that in the outline. So I have some stuff. So we'll do mid-season awards next week. I guess we're going to be playing or picking some players.
MVP, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. Just a few.
Oh, I got a good rookie. I have
few.
some ideas for rookie. So
comeback player, comeback player of the year, maybe something like that. 3 or 4.
So it's that time of the week. Let's go ahead and move into our play it through person of the week. And Dave, I'll let you take over with that, and I will get the rest of this stuff going.
Cool. Yeah, so this week, my play it through player of the week, we have another college football player just like we had last year. This player actually has since graduated, so this one's a little bit older, but play it through person of the week this week is Jake Olson. He is blind. He was the USC snapper, so he would be the snapper on extra points, field goals. When Jake was 10 months old, when he lost his left eye due to retinoblastoma, he's battled cancer in his right eye 8 times until he was forced to go completely blind, and he lost his right eye vision when he was 12 years old in 2019. He learned about the position of long snapper, and he worked really, really hard at doing that. He's from Huntington Beach. So Pete Carroll heard about him, and Pete Carroll here, when he was coach at USC, would have him come when he was a youth to the practices as inspiration to his kids, and just got along with him so great that he wanted his positive energy around the team. And, Jake was able to play for Lutheran High School in Orange County, which is just south of where Chuck lives. As a kid, he would, visit these practices. He'd hang out with the team. The camaraderie was great with all the players, as you could see, to have him at practices and on the sideline during games. And, he walked on to USC in 2015 and got a place. So here after the games, it's awesome at USC. They play the fight song, and they always have one of the players go and kind of lead like he's a conductor at the end of the game on top of a ladder. So you see Jake doing that there. But yeah, so when he goes out onto the field, he holds basically the kicker or the holder shoulder, and they lead him out to the field. Then once they get out there, one of the guards kind of leads him and lets him know where he needs to position himself to get ready to snap the ball. And then they'll clap. So there's different yardages. So if you're snapping for a punt, it's further than if you're snapping for, say, an extra point. So they would clap his other fellow lineman to let him know how far he needed to snap the ball. And then one of the guards would tap him on his leg, and then he would know that's when he's ready to snap the ball a second after that. And so he actually got to snap in a live game for the first time in 2017 against Western Michigan. And it was an extra point in the fourth quarter, and it was a perfect snap. And so the coach put him in, and Chuck will show you the video. So this is his first snap live. In 2018, he won the Walter Camp Football Foundations Award for perseverance. And basically, he's continued to go on since he graduated. He graduated with a finance and business degree, but he does motivational speaking. He goes around to schools, to corporations, and does motivational speaking. And then he also tries a lot of things. So he goes out, he's done high platform diving into a swimming pool. He plays golf. He said he would love to play, in Augusta sometime. That's his ultimate dream, is to play Augusta. And mind you, he's completely blind. He can't see anything anymore. And so he can still golf. He's figured out the form, how to put that club right where he needs to, with people guiding him on what direction and directioning him, getting him lined up. He drove laps in a NASCAR in California, so he got in a car and had someone in the passenger seat with him, but he actually drove a NASCAR around some laps. He's written a couple of books about his situation, 2 inspirational books. And so he's just continuing to do things. And he's always said he's been kind of a jokester because he's blind, but all of his other senses, you've heard when someone's blind, their other senses are heightened. So he likes to play jokes on teammates and friends and family. So once he's in a situation in a room where he can hear someone come in and he knows who it is, he'll yell out their name and kind of surprise them because, they don't think he knows that they're in the room. Or he'll hear somebody talk and he'll wad up a piece of paper, or he'll have a ball in his hand or something, and he'll throw it, and he'll hit somebody with it because he can hear where their voice is while they're talking. And he's gotten good enough with knowing kind of how far away the distance they are with their voice and where they're positioned. And he can actually, throw something at them and hit them a good percentage of the time. And that always, surprises them and everything. And, just he's a real amazing guy. It would be great to see one of his talks. It'd be great to see his snap, but I might give Chuck not a good video because it doesn't seem to be playing very well of his first snap he had. But he seems like a great guy. He has rituals like every other player before he'd go out. His pregame meal was always eating chicken parmesan with a Caesar salad, and just a real normal guy. He said he hung out with all the special teamers a lot. He would go everywhere with them. They would all assist him going to, to mess, food hall, to eat dinner. They take him out to dinner. He's very fortunate that he does have a twin sister, and she also went to USC. So she was there to help him, with classes and get to class a little bit if he needed guidance or if he just needed some support. He had a family member there, so that was really cool for him. But, he's once again another perfect example of what you want to see in someone playing it through. I mean, it'd be very easy for him to decide to never, try to do a team sport, something like that. But, he didn't let it stop him. He was 12 years old, and his quote when he was 12, when he found out he was going to lose his whole vision, he had already lost vision in one of his eyes. But when he found out he was going to be totally blind at 12, he said, well, I'm just going to experience something a lot of other people aren't going to experience, and I'm going to figure this out. So what a great attitude to have at 12 years old. I mean, to have that kind of trust in yourself and take it on as a challenge, basically, and not a woe is me situation, just speaks a lot to Jake and who he is as a person. And I would love to see one of these motivational speaking days that he does, and maybe I'll get to see one. I mean, he still lives in the Huntington Beach area, so maybe there's a time that I can look up his schedule and I can check one of these out. But so I just wanted to throw him out there. I remember when this story happened, I remember seeing it on several different sports things, and after I did my my play it through person of the week last week, Casey O'Brien, who was kind of similar. He was a special teamer. He was a holder. I thought I'd keep it with special teams here and, put Jake Olson in here. And so he's our play it through person of the week.
Oh, it's fantastic. I'm really sorry about the video. I don't know what it is with, maybe it's the internet, something. We've never had this problem before, but I just could not get that video to play.
It's a few seconds. It's just him snapping it back on an extra point his first time,
Sure.
and then his teammates, congratulating him and helping him, escorting him back to the sideline, basically, where he puts his hand on one of their shoulder pads. And, and I always thought when I saw the video, because the guys on the sideline are so excited that they're coming up and they're like randomly like patting him on the helmet like any other player. And I'm trying to put myself in his position when I watch that, like, okay, you're blind. You don't see any of this coming. Like all of a sudden you just get hit in the head. Like, okay, hit in the head, walk by, a couple more seconds, hit in the shoulder, a couple more seconds, someone's hugging you all of a sudden. Like guys are going up and grabbing him. And I'm like, their excitement, but it had to be such a weird experience because you don't see any of the celebratory stuff coming. You can hear the crowd. He always said he loved running out of the tunnel because they would tell him you're running out by section 11, and they knew when he would come out. So section 11 would always scream really loud for him when he'd come out of the tunnel. And so, it was a lot of people helping him with, identifying where things were at and where sounds were coming from. And, and that's just cool because, I mean, how much more of a teammate can you be than you're helping someone who can't see do all this stuff that's in stadiums with tens of thousands of people, things around you all the time, and you can't see any of it. It's just so many sounds, that you have to deal with. And so, that had to be, that's really cool that, that USC and, the coaches, Pete Carroll first when he was a kid, and then Coach Helton, who was his coach later on, kept the relationship and had him on the team. And I think every team, especially a college team, should have somebody almost inspirational like this. Most of these colleges, you're going to have maybe a couple kids, if any, go play in the pros at any of these sports. So why not teach more life lessons of, hey, we're all helping our teammate. This person has an it, a play it through, right? They have an it. And there it's a little bit bigger than maybe my it is. So I might be dealing with something, but I'm not blind. But you know what? I can get to know this guy that's blind that doesn't even see like he's blind. He lives life. He's a joy to be around. He gets through everything just fine. He doesn't complain. He doesn't whine. He doesn't woe is me. And when you have a guy like that around you, you just step yourself up because you're like, well, I can't complain. Like Jake, look at Jake here. And I had a kid like that. And this one actually really hit home with me because when I coached junior high, I coached JV football at my old high school. I had a center on my team, and he was a center. He wasn't just a snapper, but he was blind in one eye. His name was Brandon Krallman. And he was a freshman, and he wrestled, and he was about to lose all of his sight just like Jake did. I mean, he already had the left eye. He was older than Jake, but he had basically the same issue. And I'm guessing now Brandon would be about mid-20s. And I haven't looked. I haven't been able to keep in touch with him, but he could very possibly be fully blind at this point in his life because he was already had so many surgeries on the eye that was still good. And they had basically told him that he was going to lose all vision and he'd wear special glasses and he'd wear special goggles and eye protection when he played. He was my starting center with one eye at like 15 years old. And all I would do is most of my plays, because he was blind out of his right eye, is I would have my right guard slant in and help that side. Because, hey, we can't have anyone coming to Brandon's right side because he can't see him. He has no vision, basically, from his nose over. Like, he can't see that whole side of anything. And so my right guard would slide over and help and give help protection. And so, but this kid was a warrior. I mean, wrestling, he did so well. Football, we played this team, Ontario, Oregon, which you're familiar with. They beat us they beat me every year. Every year I played football in high school, they beat us. My biggest rival in high school was AJ Feely. He played in the NFL at quarterback for like 12 years. Played for Miami, played for the Eagles. You know, he was 6'5", 260 pounds when he was in high school. Like, the guy was a pro-sized kid when we played him. And so we played against his school, my JV team. We hadn't beat him in like over 20 years at all. Not JV, not varsity, at football. They'd always beat us. And so my JV team, when I coached, we beat them at home. And it's the best win and feeling I ever had in my life because I hated them so much. And I could never beat them. And my one-eyed center had to go against a kid that probably weighed close to 300 pounds all game. And he whooped his ass. And he wasn't big. You know, Brandon was not a big kid. He was a wiry, strong, tough kid, country kid, you know, grew up out on the farm, bucking bales of hay, working hard out on the farm, you know, with his dad, whose family I knew really well. But I mean, I bet he was 5'9", 180, playing center. And he was going against a kid that was almost probably 300 pounds. And he held his own the whole game. And I was so proud of him, you know, and I, you know, it was amazing. It's the only game I was almost in tears after it got over because I was so happy, one, to beat them, so happy to see that kid play his ass off so hard against that monster of a kid that was in front of him all day. And so, like, I love that Jake Olson story because I had kind of a Jake Olson. I coached Jake Olson for a couple years. Yeah, so I had to put Jake on here. One of my guys that I had in the back of my mind that I had remembered that story because I had remembered Brandon. And I remember all the things we had to do for Brandon in practice and during games. And even though he still had sight, you know, one-eyed. Like, you don't, football's fast, man. Things are coming from all over. Never complained, hustled, played hard, never missed a practice. I mean, everything you could want. I mean, Brandon's a play it through. Brandon is a play it through player that I could highlight.
Absolutely.
You know, on our show.
Absolutely. And you should tag Brandon in this broadcast.
Yeah, I should. I'll find his family because I know his family pretty well. He's got a big family up where we're from. So I'll have to find one of his family members and see if they can get this to him.
So thank you for another. I could not even imagine if I had lost my sight as such to try and do what, especially in such a physical sport, to try and do what this gentleman did. I can't even imagine. But so thank you again. And I don't want a quick transition, but I'm going to. If anybody's not watching the game, I kind of backed up. This already happened like 3 minutes ago. So here we have Astros at bat, and comes a pitch. A shot down the line.
Oof.
We had runners on first and second, so we get a score. So now the Astros are up 2-0 with runners now on the corners. So Still 2 outs. I have no idea where they are now.
It's a commercial right now.
And
so they either switched the pitcher or they got out of the inning.
So if I jump to live, you're right. It's at commercial. So It's at least 2-0 right now. Runners at the corner. They probably got, if they're commercial, they probably got the out. Yeah. But so Astros are up midway through the game, more than midway through the game. 2-0 could be the first team to win on the road in this series. No, wait. First team to win at home in this series.
Yeah.
Check that.
Crazy.
Reverse it.
Yeah.
Or strike that.
Crazy
as Willy Wonka said, strike that, reverse it. Win at home. So, so it looks like they just came back out of break, and the Astros are winning 2-0, and the Astros are now on defense. So top of the sixth. Astros up 2-0. Looks starting to get exciting, right? It's like you almost don't want to end the broadcast.
Pitching a gem, one hitter. Zach Greinke has only allowed one hit so far against the
pop.
Against the
That's popped center field. And there's your first out of the inning. So hey, besides this game, what else are you going to be watching this weekend?
All right. I'm going to fly through this pretty quick because we're already an hour and a half in here. Obviously, we're watching the World Series, giving you updates going on right now. Tonight, right now, Atlanta and Toronto in the MLS to see who meets the Sounders to go to the MLS Finals is on. In the NBA this week, so Minnesota's playing Philly tonight. They're both still undefeated, so after tonight, one of them won't be. Also tonight was Milwaukee at Boston. And then tonight's game at 7, which right now just started, Clippers are at Utah. And then on Friday, ESPN 6:30 is the Lakers at the Dallas Mavericks, who are both like 3-1. So that'll be a good game. College football coming up this weekend. Number 8 Georgia plays at number 6 Florida. Check that out. Number 16 SMU plays at number 24 Memphis for basically who will take the American Athletic Conference championship. Number 7 Ducks are at USC. And then crazy game, Wofford, who's in the South Conference, who's 4-4, plays Clemson, who's number 4 ranked in the end of the season. And they're Clemson's favored by 47 points. How do you get this on your schedule at the end of the season? Like, this is one of those first game of the year, like, games that you have where you play, some bad team,
high school team.
If you're a big team. Yeah, so good for Wofford for getting a bunch of money to go get smashed by Clemson. And then in the NFL, the 3 games I'm really going to watch is Houston at Jacksonville because the AFC South is basically up for grabs. Cleveland at Denver because Baker Mayfield went off on a reporter today. Denver's starting their rookie quarterback this week for the first time. Cleveland's, underplayed so much, all the hype this summer. I'm getting all those big names, those receivers and stuff. So I'm really interested to see if Cleveland steps up on the road against a, rookie quarterback's first game and can get a win they should get. And then New England, Baltimore, because I think really, even though I picked New England, this could be the first game they lose this season. I really think Baltimore has a chance.
Or win by only 3. I'd be happy with.
Yeah. College basketball starts on Tuesday. There's a big tournament that starts college basketball, and number 3 Kansas plays number 4 Duke in the first game. It's at 4 p.m. on ESPN on Tuesday. And then following that game at 6:30, number 1 Michigan State plays number 2 ranked Kentucky. So you have 1 and 2 going against each other and 3 and 4 at this, tournament, right? The start of the season. So you get to see all these new freshmen since all of these teams reload with freshmen now every single year because half of them play or whatever. And then they suck because they don't know how to play basketball because they're 12 years old and they've only been coached for a year by a college coach. And then on Saturday, 7 p.m., huge UFC fight. It's going to be Jorge Masvidal against Nate Diaz. I've mentioned Nate in the past. I love Nate. He's a real one. That actually came out earlier, like last week, that he had failed his drug test, but the UFC wasn't going to say anything because then they'd have to cancel the main event that's already sold out,
Mm-hmm.
and no one would buy it and watch it. So what they do in the UFC, it's not like other sports where they're like, "Oh, you failed, you're suspended for 20 games and 60 games." They go, "Hey, let's have the fight and make a shit ton of money, and then we'll just slander you afterward and tell everyone you're on dope or you failed your
Right.
drug test." Well, Nick Diaz is the realest fighter I've ever seen, and he came out before the media and before UFC and said, "They told me I failed a drug test, and that's a bunch of crap." He goes, "All I take are these natural vitamins and these things." He goes, "So if I failed a drug test, I don't know how, and maybe someone's messing with me." He's like, "But I'll come out and say it. I didn't fail any drug test." And so, like 2 days later, the UFC recanted their remarks and were like, "Oh, yeah, something weird happened. He didn't fail his drug test." So basically, Nate came out and cleared his name on his own. And he was like, "There's no way I failed a drug test. I would never would. I don't do anything that I would. So I don't know who's messing with the tests. I don't know what you did, but there's no possible way I could have failed the drug test. And I don't want you saying 4 months from now, 'Oh, after that fight, by the way, Nate Diaz failed the drug test and he's dirty,' or whatever." So he jumped on top of it before they could even do anything about it. So good for Nate Diaz. And I hope if other athletes feel that way, they do the same thing. Like, "Hey, no, there's no way I could have failed." Like, stand up for yourself if you know it's the truth. So I'm looking forward to that because Nate Diaz, he's a tough SOB. I'm sure if he could, he'd drink one of these. Oh, hell yeah. Stone Cold Steve Austin Broken Skull IPAs from El Segundo because it's a man's beer. And then, last but not least, we'll get a little less manly. Men's tennis.
Oh,
Men's tennis. We're in Paris. Okay, the Paris Masters is going on right now. It's going to end on Sunday. Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic. Basically, whoever wins this tournament, if it's one of them, will end the year as basically the number one ranked player. They'll be the champion of men's tennis. Rafael Nadal, looking good. Djokovic looking good. Federer pulled out of it for personal reasons, so he's not even in the tournament. So it's very possible these two could be going at each other in the final on Sunday to find out who the best player of this year is in men's tennis. And that's it. That's all I got. Go Niners tomorrow night. Winning by 15 at least.
And just to let you know, in full time, Toronto is taking it 2-1 over Atlanta.
They won?
Yes.
Okay. So Toronto and the Sounders are playing in the MLS final.
And bottom of the sixth, Houston has a 2-0 lead, and Houston is up to bat. They went three and out with against the Nationals. Really looking good. I mean, this could be the first home game win of this series, unless the Nationals can pull something out in the next 3 at bats. 7, 8, 9, 3 at bats. So I'm obviously going to be, of what you mentioned, I'm really going to be watching that New England Baltimore game. I'm really going to enjoy the game tomorrow night. The 49ers and Cardinals. I just really like both those teams. Obviously the Cardinals aren't there yet, but and I'm going to be watching basketball because I'm just watching my score continue to go up because obviously I suck at fantasy football this year, but since Dave started a fantasy football league, I crushed it week 1 against Dylan, by 300 points. And right now I'm winning this week so far 450 to 380. That's not as big a margin as I had last week, but Kyrie Irving is really crushing it for me right now. And so is Brogdon. So even so, be watching. I'm gonna try and be watching some basketball. I got the scores up on this screen. I was trying to send the pictures over to my computer to show the fans what my setup is here, and so I'm gonna try and just show it on the screen on the camera. This is from my desk of what I look at. I got my iPad, over here. I got my MacBook over here with our our outline, and then on one screen I've got scores and videos and photos and stuff, and then of course I have us on the other screen. So that's just kind of a behind the scenes look, I guess, of what we do for our broadcasts each week. So we really appreciate all of you who join us, and we really appreciate the more than 1,000 people who watch our videos every week, our rebroadcast every week on either Facebook or YouTube. And and with that, Houston now has a runner on first and a foul off by Corbin. But so with that, we're gonna say goodbye. I am not gonna lie, Dave. When I hit end broadcast up in the corner here, I got to run in the house. I've got these or want to go somewhere. So anyway, folks, thanks for joining us, and we will see you all next Wednesday at 5:30 here on the West Coast. And thanks for joining us, Amber, Chris, everyone that has joined us and commented. Thank you, Cindy and Jim. Thank you for watching. So we'll see you all next week. Everybody have a great week. Take care.
Cheers.
And